Hi everyone! Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Daisy Delicacy and I am a professional burlesque performer. And this is the first episode of my new video podcast called Act It Out, where I talk about my experience as a burlesque performer, specifically the acts that I do. And in this first episode, I'm going to talk to you all about the very first burlesque act I ever performed, ever, in my life. So, let's get started. So my first burlesque performance was through the New York School of Burlesque, which is a school in New York, and they have a class there, which is a student showcase class. What happens is every week for, I think it's 6 weeks, I think it was 6 weeks when I did it, you meet with a bunch of other people in the class, you develop your burlesque persona, your name, everything like that, and the class culminates in a big student showcase performance where everybody performs their individual acts. And that was really, really exciting for me. This was the first time I had ever really performed a burlesque act. I was nervous, but also super excited. I had had a lot of burlesque act ideas in my head that I was going to perform live in front of an audience if I had ever gotten the chance. The problem was that this showcase was happening during 2020. So I think you can kind of put the pieces together of why that maybe wouldn't have been most ideal for a live performance. So all of the classes that I took for the student showcase were online. And it was a lot of fun, I gotta say that. It was really fun getting to meet everybody through Zoom and meeting once a week to talk about our acts, what we wanted to do, to develop what we wanted to do. But the act that I ended up performing was actually for a Zoom performance, not a live performance. So all these acts that I kind of had ideas for in my head before I even took the class didn't really come to fruition because they were meant for a live audience, and I had no idea how to transfer an act I made for a live audience into the comfort of my living room. Or I guess you could say my parents' living room, because at the time I was home with my parents. Yeah. The act that I ended up performing was an act called Jazz Fever, which is to a song by Rachel Bloom. I love Rachel Bloom. I think most people who know me in my real life know how much I love Rachel Bloom and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and all the songs and music videos she does on YouTube. So I picked the song Jazz Fever that she's done. If you have not seen it, please go look it up. It's hilarious. And I picked the song for 2 reasons. The first is that, like I said, I had to find a way to create a burlesque act that I could perform in the comfort of my living room. And this act, even though there is a lot of dancing in it, it's not an act with dancing that travels around the stage. I don't need to strut around. I don't need to move from place to place. I could do it all in a video frame like I'm doing right now. The second reason is during this time in my burlesque journey, there we go, I didn't feel particularly comfortable being overtly sexy. I wasn't in that frame of mind yet where I thought, okay, I know what I got. I can strut around the stage. I can be sexy. I can show this off and that off. In my mind, I thought, well, I'll be funny instead of being sexy, because if I can make people laugh and charm people, that will make me feel more confident. And honestly, it did at the time. I really felt like being funny really did help me find a bit more of my own self-confidence, which later translated into more sexy burlesque acts, if you want to call them that. So my whole idea with this particular act was to be funny. And if you've ever heard the song, you know why. Because the song Jazz Fever is about a flapper in the 1920s, and she's having a great time being a flapper, doing all the things, and then she finds out that she has syphilis. So it's kind of a deconstruction of that glamorized 1920s era. Rachel Bloom does a lot of stuff like that, where she kind of sets you up to believe, oh, this is great. Oh, okay, maybe not. Okay, what? No. And that was kind of the whole point of the act. The other funny thing about the act is the character is totally delusional during it. She's totally in denial about having any kind of problem. And of course, that's really funny to watch on stage, especially for burlesque. Because even though burlesque can be very sexy, dynamic, even subversive and political and all these other things at times, burlesque, the word in and of itself, really does mean satire and joke. So I thought, I'm gonna run with that idea and see what comes of it. So I did. Now I have a musical theater background, so I knew a lot of things of how to do the Charleston, how to do different 1920s kind of moves and that, and I put that all in the act. But I also really wanted to do more physical comedy. I did a little bit of prop comedy in it with a cigarette and with a medicine bottle too. I tried to make the act very like high energy and fun at the beginning, and then just slowly, like, because she's suffering from syphilis and she eventually succumbs to it. I know that sounds pretty morbid, but I promise you, if you look up the song on YouTube, if you look up the music video, it's really, really funny. I mean, it's Rachel Bloom. She's brilliant. And I, to be blunt, wanted to feel brilliant like her. So of course I would pick one of her songs to perform to. So I practiced a lot in my living room at the time. I was at my parents' house because I was home living with my parents during the COVID pandemic. Well, I mean, the COVID pandemic is still going on, but it's far less scary than it was when it first started. I digress. The point is, I was at my parents' home and I was rehearsing in my living room a lot, trying out different moves, trying out different things. I would work on the act for about 30 minutes to an hour most days, and then each week in class I would come, present it, get critiques on it, and it was really fun getting that feedback and seeing how the act kind of grew and evolved from there. In terms of getting my costume, all of it was from Amazon. I didn't really know about too many specific burlesque shops at the time. I didn't really know about any Etsy shops or places I could look up anywhere else on the internet, so all of it was from Amazon. And I got a long black flapper dress with a black headband. It had a feather design on the side of it. I also had a fake cigarette and a medicine bottle for the comedy, the prop comedy that I mentioned earlier. I had shoes from Amazon. I had actually found some really nice 1920s style bottom underwear, which was beautiful and worked really well for the act. And I just had standard black heart pasties, a black G-string, and a strapless bra. I didn't really go too full out with the decorating of the costume for it, because one, I'm not a super flashy person. Now I know how to do more rhinestoning and styling with that, but at the time I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep it simple. My dress is flashy enough. And it also kind of works for the act too, because it starts out very flashy and ooh, it's the 1920s, nothing's going wrong, and by the end you're just a complete mess. So wearing something more simple, I think, actually did work for the act. So it was really, really fun doing that. I keep saying it's really fun, but it's true nonetheless. So the day of the performance, again, all of it was on Zoom because we couldn't film it for a live studio audience. A live studio audience, what am I talking about? We couldn't film it for a live audience like most burlesque performances are. So it was all through Zoom. It was all just a one-night event. And I remember that day I was very, very nervous. It was the first time I had ever performed burlesque, let alone for a Zoom audience, let alone for my parents who were watching at the time, my then boyfriend, now fiance at the time, his sister tuned into, everybody in the class was watching. It was like, oh God, I'm just gonna do this routine. I was nervous. But as soon as the music started, as it happens with burlesque acts, all the nervousness just went away. And I did my thing, and I was really proud of how it turned out. I have the video from it. I have never posted the video of that particular act because despite it turning out pretty good, there is a little bit of a delay. It happens. It's Zoom. What are you gonna do? And I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my acts. I really don't like to post anything that has that glaring of a mistake in it. Again, I don't really know if it's a mistake per se, but it's just something that doesn't particularly look good with the act. So I just have never posted it for that reason. I still have the video footage. I may post it at some point for fun. We'll see if anybody likes it, if anybody wants to see it. Leave a comment if you would like to see it at some point. But that is how that act turned out. And it was really fun. I keep saying it was really fun, but it's true nonetheless. It was a really, really fun first experience doing burlesque. The funny thing is, a couple weeks ago, I was performing at a burlesque show and somebody who was in the class was there too. And she asked me, do you think you're ever gonna perform the Jazz Fever act for a live audience? And for a long time after I had done that act, I thought, I'm gonna retire this act. I don't think it's as good as some of the other stuff that I've been putting out there. It just really doesn't feel as top-notch as what I've been working on. But she had said to me, you know, it's really funny. I think it's unique. It's different. Why not do it? So in terms of the legacy or the continuation of the act, who knows? Maybe I will put it on the internet. Maybe I will make it part of my act repertoire. We'll see. Maybe I'll change it. Maybe I'll do something with it. I don't know. But that's the whole point of it. Burlesque is always evolving, it's always changing. And for a burlesque performer, when you create an act, it's always evolving, it's always changing. So who knows? It's not a hard no that the act is completely done. Maybe it'll come back. And if it does, I will be sure to let you all know about it. So that was actually a pretty short episode, pretty short first episode, but I'm really glad I did this. This is a really exciting endeavor for me, and I hope to do more episodes in the future. If you want to see more, please like and subscribe. Also, please check out my Instagram page, which is at Daisy_delicacy. I'll link it in the description. Please check out all my other act teasers on this channel, and please, please, please share this video with people. I want people to see me. I want people to like what I do, and your support really, really helps with that. So all that said, thank you so much for watching the first episode of Act It Out. There we go. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.